What's up, Dragon Brood? Today we got some rare but interesting news in the Commander format, and that usually means something got banned, but this time we also have news that something got unbanned. So let's take a couple of quick minutes just to talk about that. For starters, let's talk about the bigger news. We have Golos getting banned. Golos, Tireless Pilgrim. And people ask, like, why? Well, one of the things is that it was a card that came up in every discussion. If anybody on the Commander Advisory Group had talked to anybody in the social circles, everybody kept bringing up Golos. That's just a thing. And you had the other issue of that it also was way overplayed already as it is, but those weren't actually the reasons. When it comes down to it, according to the write-up from Sheldon Menery that's put out there, the issue really was that it kind of just became the best thing to do with 5 colors, and it also didn't have 5 colors in its cost. It was just one of those things you can cast with whatever you want, and then it allowed you to play all 5 colors. And it also lets you search up pretty much your best land all the time, which on the one hand, you're going to say, yeah, that's great. But yeah, then you kind of get a lot of samey games and everything's just overpowered. And, you know, maybe that's not a big thing to the average commander or competitive commander player, but it did actually affect a lot of the other casual commander players. And again, this is something that came up in several discussions. Even when I personally asked my commander players in my social circles on social media, it was a card that nobody really enjoyed or enjoyed playing against. Now, it has also been brought up that, you know, you reached out and hopefully in the future won't have any commanders or 5 color commanders that don't at least have some color in their cost, but preferably all 5 colors. At least have the players dedicate to if they're going to want to play it. I will also point out that Sheldon also mentioned that they're keeping an eye on Kenrith the Returned King. Mostly because it's kind of the next best thing you could be doing with 5 colors if you're going to be playing 5 colors. So, you know, just saying, it's on the radar. But everybody does view it as being a significant step down from Golos. So there's a good chance he's safe. So yes, there are other cards you can play that are 5 colors, but they either are harder to use, require some specific amount of deck building to make them work a specific way, or do require all 5 colors so they're harder to cast. And that's actually okay. I don't think the plan is to take away the ability to play 5 color decks. It's just make you actually dedicate to doing something with those 5 colors, or doing something very thematic. Something like, you know, the legendary slivers, for instance. You're building a sliver deck, so it kind of justifies playing the 5 colors because it's on theme. I think that's reasonable. Now, there's going to be some people that are upset with the Golos banning, like with all bannings. And, you know, I get it. Me personally, I know people always ask, like, how do you feel about bannings? I'm one of those weirdos that I'm fine with it. You know, there's a lot of cards I would probably be okay with. If you ever want to talk about them, feel free to hit up my Discord and whatever, and we can probably talk for days. But I get it. And nothing wrong with people being upset about it. I think overall, though, so far from viewing what I've seen on social media, this announcement has been tilting very positive. So if everything's leaning positive, I think that means it's actually a good decision, and the majority of the community is pretty happy with it. Now, moving on, there was a kind of a rare instance that happened where a card got unbanned, and that's something you don't see that often. And here we have Worldfire, and kind of the issue on Worldfire is they kind of wanted to explore bringing back cards that cost 8 and 9 mana, because, you know, a lot of decks aren't really playing those anymore, barring a couple of large creatures or some things where we figured out how to reduce the cost. And I guess this was like a safe one to play in that space. It kind of can reset the board a little bit, it can do some different things, but it does also bring the game close to an end as well as resetting at the same time. So it's a really unique card in doing what it does. I'm a fan that if something's banned, I don't mind it staying banned, but I also get the idea of kind of exploring new space, right? At the time where this was banned, Commander was played in a very different manner. Now that things have sort of shifted and new cards have been created that make this less powerful, or at least less enticing, what happens if you kind of unlock it from the vault? And we'll see. As long as the card doesn't continue to be a problem once it's been released, I think it'll just live in the wild forever. If we see a whole bunch of Worldfire decks showing up everywhere, then probably, yeah, okay, maybe we need to go back on the ban list. But I don't really have a problem with this one either. Now, some people ask, what does that mean for stuff like Coalition Victory? Well, for now, Coalition Victory is still staying on the ban list. And I think because, just adding an instant win condition is kind of a bit different than what Worldfire does. Worldfire doesn't just end the game unless you already have some magical things set up to allow it to do so. It really kind of just continues the game in a different manner, but brings it close to a close, and it's still anybody's game at that point. The others, Biorhythm and whatnot, I think add a little bit more of a problem, so we'll have to talk about those at another time. Will they ever become unbanned? I don't know. I wouldn't bet on it necessarily, but anything's possible. But for today, Golos, banned, Worldfire, unbanned. That's where we're at. And I don't really have a problem with either one of these. I think they're both reasonable calls, and it'd be interesting to see how these affect the Commander community going forward, especially over the next, 6 months or so, as people get adjusted, rebuild some of their decks, see where the 5-color decks go. I think there's a lot to explore there. But anyway, let me know down in the comments how you feel about this. I'm sure everybody's going to have an opinion one way or the other. If not, hey, if there's other cards you want banned, post those too. Let's talk about it. If there's things that, you think should be unbanned, I'm willing to hear that too. And as always, don't forget, if you haven't, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And that goes for any content creator you follow or listen to. Please share their content, because that's really what helps their channels grow. But that's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.